instructor with the Butler HRC. So glad to be joining you for this online yoga class. It'll be about the yoga style, pretty mellow. And if you like to gather some objects besides just being on your floor, on your mat, being on a carpet is fine too. Just make sure you're not going to slip. And a blanket would be a great idea, or a cushion or a pillow of some sort. And if you have yoga blocks, great. If you do not have yoga blocks, that's fine too. You can use a thick set of books, just have some books nearby, and let's go ahead and get started. So from here, we're just going to start in a seated position, and if you're comfortable cross-legged, that's fine. Sukhasana easy pose is where we're going to go. If your hips are a little bit tight, and if your knees are coming up a lot, you might even want to be seated on your blanket or cushion to just give your hips a little bit of a height so that your knees can relax down. So giving it a few breaths here. Deep inhales, deep exhales. Closing the eyes if you're comfortable closing the eyes. And just check in with how you are feeling right here, right now. Taking this break in your day. How are you feeling physically? How are you feeling emotionally? Is there anything that just keeps coming up? Just making a note of that. And just by doing that and by beginning to observe the breath, we start to gain a little bit of perspective. Lengthening and deepening each inhale, each exhale, and just seeing what that feels like internally. Begin to relax the shoulders down away from the ears. Begin to feel your way through the neck and see if there's anything you're holding on to there. And from here, we're going to take a nice big inhale to reach high. And then as we exhale, we're going to turn to the right. The left hand can go on that right thigh somewhere. Right hand is right behind the tailbone. Just giving yourself a nice twist here. Think of twisting from the belly button. Inhaling for length, nice long back of the neck, and exhaling to squeeze into the twist. And as we inhale, we come forward, we release that twist. Maybe give yourself a little sway side to side. And then we'll simply switch the cross of the legs, whichever one you had on top, place the other one on top. And then we'll go to that other side. So inhaling to reach it high, exhaling to twist over to the left. Now that left hand's right behind the tailbone. You're kind of making a second spine with your left arm there, supporting yourself. Take a big inhale to lengthen. And as we exhale, squeezing from the belly button here. Inhaling, think length, exhaling to squeeze. Continue to take the shoulders down away from the ears. And as we inhale, we'll release that to center. Again, giving ourselves another sway around here. From here, we can begin to rotate the torso. Think of exhaling to come back and arch the back, inhaling to come forward and sway the back. But make a nice big circle out to the edges, almost like you're wiping out the inside of the barrel here. Take a note of which direction you're circling in here. And then we'll inhale to come to center, reaching the arms high, and exhaling to bow forward. It might be just the hands on the floor, or maybe the forearms come down. Take a few deep breaths here. Let's take a big inhale, inhale, inhale through the nose. Suspend it a little bit at the top, and then exhale to sigh it out. Dropping the jaw here. As we inhale, we're going to walk the hands back toward us. And again, just noticing which leg was on top. Let's take the other leg on top now, switching the cross of the legs one more time. And whichever direction you were going with the circles before, we're going to take the opposite direction now. It'll be the way that feels a little bit less intuitive to you. And making those nice big circles. See if you can even extend the size of that circle all the way around. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. And then as we're ready, we'll land in the center, meet in the center, and that same inhale takes the arms way high. As we exhale again, folding forward. You'll probably feel a little stretch on the hips here, maybe one side more intensely than the other. Let's take a big inhale, 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 suspending the breath at the top. And then exhale to sigh out. Good. Let's inhale to walk the hands right back towards you. And then if you've got a cushion under the hips, we can go ahead and set that to the side. And we'll begin to meet in our tabletop. Just begin to set up for that tabletop. So setting up the shoulders right over the wrists, the hips right over the knees, and then we'll begin our cat and cow flow, inhaling to cow, squeezing shoulder blades together, swaying the back, and exhaling to arch and round the back and tuck the tail. Taking it to the rhythm of our own breath here. Inhale, opens up the front side of the body. Exhale, opens up the back side of the body. Inhale, opens the front of the heart. Exhale, opens the back of the heart. A couple more rounds here. And then we'll have your blocks or books handy, and we'll just take the hips back to the heels. We'll find a variation of child's pose. So if you've got books, try to stack them equal height, or you might even want to take a cushion here instead. But we're going to take the forearms onto the blocks or books or cushion as we sit the hips back towards the heels. And so you may experience a nice stretch in the shoulders here. Also kind of through the armpits if we turn the palms upward. So try it with the palms down and try it with the palms up and see what feels better to you. Keep breathing here in our child's pose variation, giving the shoulders a nice stretch. And as you're ready, we'll inhale to come out of this. And then setting the blocks over to one side once more. And we'll continue with a couple of more rounds of our cat and cow. And then we'll come to a neutral spine. We'll inhale to take the right arm high and exhale, thread the needle, right arm behind the left, crawling the left fingertips forward. Pushing your way into it gently. A few breaths here. So we just stretched out the front side of the shoulder, and now we're saying hello to the back side of the shoulder, that area by that shoulder blade. Big inhale as we exhale, coming back to center. As we inhale, reaching high. Exhaling that right hand down. Let's try that other side. So we'll inhale, left arm high. Exhaling, left arm behind right, and then we'll crawl the right fingertips forward, pressing that right hand over to the right to squeeze ourselves, press ourselves gently into this twist. Deep breaths here. Noticing what there is to notice, how the sides feel different. Take a big inhale here As we exhale, we'll fall back towards center, inhaling the left arm high, exhaling to tabletop. Good. From our tabletop, we'll take the hands forward maybe an inch or two, tucking the toes under, pressing back to downward facing dog. And we can pedal out the heels here. Maybe give the head a little shake. Continuing to deep breathe here and pressing the chest towards the thighs using your arm strength. Taking the tailbone up as far towards the ceiling and the heels down towards the mat just as far as they want to go today. Feeling that stretch. All right, as we inhale, we're going to come down, back down to the knees. Great, and from here we'll place the forearms down, leaving the hips stacked right over the knees. This time we're going to crawl the forearms forward. Coming into our heart melting pose here. Again, a nice stretch for the fronts of the shoulders. Then from here, we'll leave the forearms where they are and take the hips back a little bit, taking the hips and the belly down to the floor, finding Sphinx pose here. So pressing between the shoulder blades just a little. Just so we're not dumping into this and we're still opening the heart here. Take a big inhale, and then as we exhale, hands come down beside the chest, nose comes down. Inhaling, we're going to take it up to cobra, elbows track back, tops of the feet are on the floor. I think still a lot of length in the back of the neck here. Big inhale, and exhale out of our cobra here, pressing back into our traditional extended child's pose, knees out, big toes together, arms forward, forehead down. Breathing deeply and knowing we can come back to child's pose at any point during the practice. And let's inhale to come back to that tabletop position. And exhale back to find our downward facing dog. Seeing if it feels a little bit different this time, it might. Settling in. And then as we inhale, we're going to look forward between the hands. As we exhale, taking a little walk forward, feet land about between the hands here. Grabbing the elbows and giving it a nice sway side to side here. Remember to relax the back of the neck and let the head hang. Good. By now we're breathing mostly through the nose for the remainder of the practice, if that's practical for you. But the main thing is that we keep breathing deeply and smoothly. If your breath starts to feel choppy, it's a nice reminder to get back into your child's pose, get back into your breath. The breath leads the movement, so we want that breath to be full, long, and deep. So from here, we let the hands drop wherever they want to land, exhaling here. As we inhale, we're going to unroll, think one vertebra at a time, making our way towards standing, and then end of the inhale sends the palms to touch overhead, exhaling to heart center. Taking a breath, or two, or three, or four, pausing in our mountain pose. Try taking the hands down by the sides with the palms forward, and here it's an invitation to take the shoulders down away from the ears once again to find your full height. And then from here, we'll place the hands right on the low back. Fingertips can be up or they can be down. We'll find a little back bend here, inhaling to push the hips forward, to shine the heart, to track the elbows back towards each other. And then as we exhale, we'll take a little fold forward. Into Sun Salutation C. So we'll inhale in number 7 shape here, flat back. And then exhaling, placing the hands down, left foot goes back, and we'll place that back knee down. Inhaling into our Anjaneyasana to shine the heart forward, reach. Exhaling the hands down, variation, so we take the hips back into quarter splits, flexing that front foot, hamstring stretch. Breathing deeply, inhaling our way forward, and exhaling, right foot meets left plank position. Big inhale here, and exhaling, knees, chest, and chin come down to the floor, pranam or inchworm pose. And we inhale to slither forward to that little baby cobra we found before, nice back bend, and exhaling to push it back, downward facing dog. Checking in with that breath. As we inhale, we look forward between the hands. As we exhale, the left foot steps softly forward, back knee comes down, inhaling to rise, sinking through the hips and shining the heart. And exhaling the hands down, sitting it back into that quarter splits. Wrap the left hip back behind you here. And then as we inhale, we'll crawl it back forward, stepping the right foot forward, finding Uttanasana, forward fold. Exhaling here, and then inhaling to rise, same as we did before. Reaching up overhead, exhaling to heart center. Let's try a little side bend here before we go to that other side. So I'll turn to face you here just to demo. So from here, you take the arms up overhead, grabbing the left wrist with the right hand. And we'll start to take the hips over to the left. We'll really put some weight into that left foot and reach. Inhaling your way towards center. Let's try that other side, grabbing right wrist with left hand, shooting that right hip over and finding some weight into that right foot. Let's inhale to come back to center, and then we'll exhale to fold it back forward. Inhaling to a number 7 shape here, and then we'll exhale the hands down and step that right foot all the way back. Back knee comes down. We inhale to rise. Exhaling the hands down, sitting it back to quarter splits here. Inhaling to come forward just enough to step it back into plank. Big inhale in your plank, and exhaling, knees, chest, and chin, elbows hug in. Inhaling to take it forward, maybe even a little bit more extension through the crown of the head, and exhaling to push it back into downward facing dog. Deep breaths. As we inhale, looking forward between the hands, as we exhale, that right foot steps forward, back knee comes down, inhaling to rise. Exhaling to come down and sit it back, quarter splits. Inhaling to walk it forward just enough so we can come back to Uttanasana, forward fold. Exhaling here, and then inhaling to unroll. Think one vertebra at a time. Warming up the body here. Palms touch, exhaling to heart center. So now we'll go for a sun salutation A with a few variations. You do what feels good to you. So lots of variations, lots of modifications. We'll inhale the arms high. We'll exhale to bow forward. Inhaling to a flat back here. Exhaling to step one foot, then the other, all the way back to plank. Take a big inhale, and maybe this first one, we just go down to the knees once more. And do chest and chin. Inhaling to pull it forward. Maybe you're ready for an up dog now, taking the knees and hips off the floor, or you stay in that cobra, exhaling to downward facing dog. Inhaling to look forward between the hands and stepping or maybe lightly hopping forward. Inhaling to a flat back, exhaling belly towards the thighs, and this time let's try hinging up, leaving the back all in one piece all the way up. So instead of rolling, we're unfolding from the hip joint. And exhaling to heart center. Let's Check in with some more variations. Inhaling to rise, exhaling to fold forward, inhaling to find your flat back, and exhaling, maybe we step back, maybe even a little hop. And then if you've got a chaturanga in your practice, great. Go for it. We're going to take the chest forward and take care not to go too low here. Higher is better than lower. Just to protect the joints, especially the shoulders, then coming into your back bend of choice. You can always stick with that knees, chest, chin move. Exhaling into downward facing dog. After your back bend. Good. As we inhale, let's kick that right leg high. As we exhale, taking right knee in towards the nose, just hovering here, and then softly placing that right foot forward. Back heel's gonna hover here, and then coming up into a crescent warrior. Think of squeezing the front heel back and the back toes forward to create an isometric contraction here. Really helps the balance. Big inhale here. And as we exhale, we're going to take the hands down, kick that right leg back high. Inhaling, exhaling, foot down. Let's try that left side. Inhaling the left leg high. Exhaling, left knee toward the nose and hover. Then softly placing that left foot forward. Back heel stays floating as we float our way up to our crescent warrior. Trying to squeeze the front and back feet towards each other. Really helps the balance. You can be looking at something that's not moving and breathing deeply here. Take a big inhale, and as we exhale, we'll take the hands down. Inhaling to take that left leg high, exhaling back down. And we find ourselves in downward facing dog. Feel free to take a break in child's pose should you need it. And whenever we're ready, we're gonna inhale that right leg back high. We're gonna exhale, same thing with an add-on. So squeezing knee toward the nose and then placing that right foot forward. Back heel's gonna float. Coming up into our crescent warrior situation here. Take a big inhale. And then as we exhale, we'll take the hands right onto the hips, stepping that back foot forward till the feet are about 2 to 3 feet apart. So we're setting up for pyramid pose here. And from here, we'll just take the hands behind the back. Maybe you grab opposite elbows, or maybe do a reverse prayer. Whatever is in your practice and whatever you're feeling today is perfect. Inhaling the chest forward and finding a slight back bend here. And as we exhale, we're going to take the torso about parallel to the floor. And as we do this, we're going to think about pulling the right hip back, the left hip forward. If you've got grabbing your elbows here, you can probably feel to see if your hips are level or if one or the other is popping up. And as we're ready, we'll take that belly towards the thigh on an exhale. See how far it wants to go. Most importantly, let the head go, let the neck go here. Enjoy that hamstring stretch. Still hugging the right hip back. All right, from here, we're going to release the bind with the arms and inhale that left leg high. Exhaling, left foot steps back. Right foot steps back. We can find a flow here, either knees, chest, chin, or that reverse push-up, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhaling the chest forward, or maybe finding your baby cobra from here instead of up dog, and exhaling, downward facing dog. Let's try that little variation on the other side. So we're going to inhale the left leg high. Exhaling, left knee toward the nose, hovering, and softly placing that left foot forward. Finding your crescent warrior here. And then from here, placing the hands on the hips, back foot comes forward a little, 2 or 3 feet between the feet, back foot about 45 degrees or so, grabbing the elbows or reverse prayer. I like to grab the elbows. And it really depends on the day as far as preference. If you're grabbing the elbows, see if you can place the other arm on top, one that's less intuitive. Position that's less intuitive, I'm trying to say. Inhaling to find a back bend here. And then as we exhale, again, this bow forward, torso about parallel to the floor, we're going to see about wrapping the left hip back, the right hip forward a hair. And just see if you can keep those hips as level as possible before we exhale to fold in and take the belly towards the thigh. Allow the head to hang here. Take a big inhale. And as we exhale, we release whatever bind we've got. Take the hands to the floor. Inhale, standing splits, back leg high. Exhaling, stepping it back. Finding either your child's pose or your flow. I'm going to take a knees, chest, chin this time, just to mix it up. Inhaling to your back bend, maybe a cobra, maybe an up dog. Exhaling to push it back into downward facing dog. We're going to keep adding on here. So we'll inhale to take that right leg high. We'll exhale, again, knee toward the nose and placing it forward. And from here, we'll inhale to come up into our crescent warrior. Exhaling, hands on the hips, stepping it forward. And again, bind behind the back. Inhaling to a little back bend, exhaling to fold it forward. Now this time we're going to let go of that. Find the right hand is going to help that right hip move over, wrap to the right, so that right thumb can kind of be in that right hip crease here. And then we'll see about placing the left hand on a block, or maybe you prefer to place it on the leg somewhere, on the shin, on the ankle. So from here, we'll inhale to find length in the spine. As we exhale, think of twisting from the belly button to the right. Open up the chest to the right. And eventually, that right arm might float up, revolved triangle. Pavrita Trikonasana. Lots going on here. Twisting, balancing, strength, stretch. From here, we'll take that block forward just as far as feels comfortable to you. And then we'll see about finding revolved half moon. So we're going to lift that back foot. Keep breathing deeply through this balance. Big inhale. As we exhale, let's take both hands to the floor now. All right, standing splits once more. So let's go ahead and inhale. And as we exhale, we'll place that left foot all the way back. Whew. You can always take your block with you and place it underneath your hands, or take your hands to the floor. Either way, take a big inhale to lengthen that spine, and take an exhale to fold in. We're taking the big toes towards each other a little bit, the heels out a little bit. Keeping the weight in the balls of the feet rather than the heels here. And just see how far it feels good to fold in. Again, another opportunity. Gravity's helping us release through the neck to feel the weight of the head. As we inhale, let's come back up to that flat back. And then we'll exhale to walk over toward that right front foot. And as you're ready, just taking possibly a vinyasa flow, that reverse push-up, inhaling to back bend of choice, exhaling to down dog, or hang out in a child's pose. And check in with that breath. Let's try that other side. All right, so we're gonna inhale that left leg high. We're gonna exhale that left knee toward the nose, and then left foot steps forward. Inhaling to come up to your crescent warrior. Exhaling the hands onto the hips and stepping it forward, finding a bind behind the back. Inhaling and exhaling into your pyramid. Finding that flat back and long spine first, and then releasing the bind and possibly placing that block by that left big toe. That left thumb helps crank that left hip back. Maybe that hand checks in to see if those hips are level. Inhaling to find length through the spine, and then exhale. Think of twisting from the belly button over to the left. Think of opening up the chest toward the left. And then as far as your arm and hand want to fly up there, creating some space, you can go for it. Big inhale. Revolve triangle. And then we find that revolved half moon on this side, so that back leg starts to float. We walk that block forward or simply place the hand on the floor. Whee! Balancing. If and when we fall out of this, we simply come back and keep breathing. As we exhale, we're going to take both hands to the floor, standing splits. Take a big inhale, and then we're going to exhale again to step that right foot back, so we're facing the long side of the mat here. And this time, let's go ahead and interlace the hands behind you. Maybe even coming up first, we'll inhale to find some space through the front side of the body, and then we'll exhale to fold forward. Whew. Another really good stretch to the fronts of the shoulders. Interesting, when you've got the hands interlaced in this position, see if you can bring the palms closer to each other and see what that does to the shoulder stretch. Different sensation, likely a little bit more intense. Just playing with it here. As we inhale, let's come up to a flat back, releasing that bind, hands under you. And as we exhale, walking toward that left front foot. Taking it back, let's just come right back into a downward facing dog this time. If you want to take another flow, be my guest. All right. So we'll meet up in that downward facing dog and then simply come down to the knees. Right. From here, take blocks or books, stacks of books, right by your sides. They should be about equal height. You may or may not even need them, but nice to have them. Pretty close in. So from here, we're going to tuck the toes under and simply do a couple of arm circles here first. Again, just beginning to say hello to those complex joints, the shoulder joints. Right? And then from here, we'll start by placing the hands on the low back, just like we did when we were standing up near the beginning of the practice. So this helps support and press the hips forward a little bit, coming into camel. If this is not comfortable on your knees, you can always take your blanket and place it under your knees as well, or the cushion. Press the elbows back. Big inhale. As we exhale, let's come out of this, and then again, beginning to circle the arms. If you've got those blocks near you, to come into a full camel with that modification, we can begin to sit back and place the hands onto the blocks or any other support that you've got beside you, just making sure that that's equal height, pressing the hips forward. And if you're so inclined, maybe even reaching back towards the heels. Keep pressing the hips forward here, and if you're getting dizzy in this position, go ahead and come on out. Big inhale. As we exhale, we release it, and then taking the props out of the way, we'll find a traditional child's pose where we're taking the legs close together. It's almost the top of the head to the floor, reaching the hands behind you, maybe even you grab the feet. Taking a few breaths here. We're really making contact with ourselves in this pose. So feeling your belly move as you breathe. Great. I'm gonna slow it down here a bit. So we'll come back into tabletop, into a downward facing dog whenever you're ready. And as we inhale, we'll take that right leg high, maybe even open up the hip a little bit this time, taking that right hip toward the ceiling. Next exhale takes you forward into a lunge. Great. And from here, that back knee is going to come down. Great. So from here, we've got both hands framing that front foot. But let's go ahead and walk the hands around, so both hands are on the pinky toe side, and just feel that twist happening in the torso as you do this. We're going to keep that twist, and then we're going to release the right hand and begin to circle that right arm a little bit. Maybe even reach that right arm back. Yeah, so from here, see where it feels good to have your hand down, or you may even want to get your forearm down to the floor or on a block or on your cushion. So lots of different heights you can choose from here. And then to get into Radha Krishna pose, we can begin to reach back and see if I can find a piece of that left foot with my right hand somewhere. Whew. Just adjusting through that right foot, maybe needing to crawl it over to one side a little bit more. Big quad stretch here, and big shoulder opener if we turn the chest to the side. Opening up the heart, opening up the front of the shoulder. And then as you're ready, releasing that bind if you've got it. You don't ever have to get that bind. It's a nice stretch without it as well. And then we'll set up for pigeon on the right, where we'll crawl the right foot over to the left side of the mat here at the front. That left foot can crawl back a little bit. And if this is not good on your knee, you can roll around and do a supine number 4 just on your back, making a number 4 shape with the legs and hugging in. But if you're feeling pretty good here, you can always throw a block under that right hip if it's reaching up, or a cushion or a blanket under that right hip is also really nice. So you can stay up on the hands, or you can crawl down to the forearms and just enjoy this nice hip stretch here. You can rest the forehead on stacked fists, or on the hands, even on a block. Finding a place where you feel a release happening here. A place where you can really melt into the pose. Take a big inhale, inhale, inhale. And then we'll exhale to sigh it out through the mouth here. Nice, and then we'll inhale to come on up, tucking those back toes under, reaching that right leg high, maybe circling around a little bit, see what feels good. Placing that right leg down. Let's check out that other side here. So we'll inhale that left leg high, maybe opening up the hip here a little bit. Just find some movement. See if you can keep equal weight between the hands here. Next inhale, we'll come back to center, and as we exhale, we'll take that left leg forward into a lunge, back knee comes down. From here, we crawl both hands over toward the pinky toe side of that foot. And in doing this, I feel a compression in the left side of the torso. I feel a little twist in the torso happening. All right, and then we begin to circle the arm. Yeah, and maybe even reach that left hand back. And then see, maybe you want to stay up on that right hand, maybe on a block, maybe forearm on a block, maybe forearm on the floor. Bending that back knee, that right knee, and seeing if I can grab hold of some piece of my right foot with my left hand. So don't force it. See about softening into it. And if you don't get that bind, it doesn't even matter. It's still a really nice stretch. So we're down on that right forearm or up on the hand. And breathing deeply. So then we keep breathing deeply into whatever tension we might be finding here. And then release that bind, come up onto the hands, and we're gonna crawl that left foot over to the right. And find a pigeon on this side. Just setting up here, see if you can sink the hips before you fold forward. Walk that right foot back a little bit. So from Radha Krishna pose, we're coming into pigeon. Giving yourself a few breaths here. Again, see this side might feel totally different, but taking a prop under the left hip, that will feel nice for support. Breathing deeply. Take a big inhale, inhale, inhale. And then let's exhale to sigh it out. As we inhale, we're going to come back up onto the hands. And tucking the back toes under, go ahead and take that left leg high, maybe circle it around. Take any stiffness out of there. Good, and then we'll walk it forward until the feet are a little bit outside of the hands here, a little wider than hip width. Coming into yogi squat here just for a moment, maybe walking it side to side and supporting yourself with the hands, taking it down to the mat. And again, just maybe having a little cushioning nearby, always a nice idea. Taking the soles of the feet together, the knees apart. Big inhale for length, and then exhaling to hug it forward. Again, if the knees are way up, you can be sitting on the blanket, or if it feels nice to you, you can always take a blanket or a cushion underneath you in this forward fold and kind of lean into it. I always like to place the elbows somewhere on the thighs to help this hip stretch be a little bit more intense. Big inhales, big exhales. And on that next inhale, let's go ahead and come on up. And from here, you can place the feet on the floor, the fingertips reaching forward, and just see how slowly you can roll down. using that core strength. Okay, and now we're all the way down. Whew, on the floor. We deserve it. Give yourself a big hug here. Maybe a little happy baby. Rolling it side to side. Grabbing the outer blades of the feet. Maybe finding some stillness here too. Just pressing into the feet. Pressing the low back down after those back bends. And then, whenever you're ready, taking the soles of the feet together, the knees apart, lowering the legs down to the floor in a diamond shape. You can stay there or take the feet out to the side, either side of the mat. Also an option here to take a cushion or roll up a blanket and place it under the knees, which always feels nice on the low back. But just giving yourself a few moments of really well-deserved rest and relaxation and stillness. Whenever those thoughts keep coming through the mind, all we've really got to do is notice them. We don't have to push them away. Notice the thought. Say, that's a thought. And just this process alone does help us gain some perspective. Letting the breath be instead of trying to control it right now. Let the breath be, let yourself be. Just giving yourself permission to stay here as long as you would like. Or if you're ready, beginning to bring motion into the fingers and toes, the ankles, the wrists, and just feeling that motion radiate into the limbs, into the rest of the body. Taking the head side to side, and eventually giving yourself a big inhale to stretch up overhead. Exhaling to hug it in, rolling it around, rolling it over to your favorite side, and giving yourself a moment there to feel supported, to feel held, before you push up into a comfortable seat. Seeing how you feel, noticing. We can come back to this place whenever we have a moment, and whenever we have a moment to take a breath. Thank you so much for joining me for virtual yoga through the